Rana Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 120 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. In today's topic, we're actually going to be having a special minisode where I'm going to be asking you, what's your internal GPS look like and how to stay focused on your ultimate goals. I think staying focused is something that a lot of us struggle with, and I want to share my own tips, my own advice, my own story, and ways that I think that you guys can stay more focused as you are on this dream driving journey. So get ready for that. But before we get into the episode, of course, I just want to give you guys a few reminders. Remember, if you are not already, please make sure that you are following us on social. We are Dreams and Drive across the board. I think you guys are going to love this episode. So if at any point you want to share this with your friends, share this with your audience, post this on your Instagram stories, please go ahead and do so. Just tag us at Dreams and Drive and use the hashtag Dreams and Drive as well. I also want to encourage everyone to join our Facebook community. Our Facebook group has just been growing week over week, and I would love for you to be part of it. So if you want to join, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/Facebook, or you can just search Dream Driver Mastermind the next time you're in Facebook and request access. I normally accept people within a few minutes or a few hours. So please go ahead and join us. So today's topic actually came from an Instagram question. I think a few days ago, I posted on Instagram. I said, what's your biggest business challenge? And one of our past guests, Emily Burke, who was actually episode 57, she responded and said that staying focused was a big problem that she had. And I thought about a lot of people who have also said that. So I thought that it would be cool to do a Facebook Live. So if you guys are not on my email list, make sure you are. You can sign up at dreamsanddrive.com/join. If you're not on our Facebook group, that's why you have to be on there. It's because I have been, since last week, I should say, I have officially entered the Facebook Live world. I know that a lot of people have been asking me to do videos. They want to see my face. They want me to talk about topics that go beyond the podcast audio. So I finally decided last week to just go ahead and do it. I have a light, I have a camera, and I said, hey, why am I not doing it? I think I was fearful, but I was like, how am I going to tell my dream drivers every week that they have to feel the fear and do it anyway? And this whole video concept was something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I thought doing lives would be a great way to venture into the video world and see what comes from it. So anyway, I said, you know what? I'm going to do a live on this topic. And I actually did that live on November 27th, the day that episode 119 with Melissa Butler came out. And that just was so popular. I think because I did the live from my personal Facebook page and then shared it to the Dreams and Drive page and the Dreams and Drive Facebook group. That's why I got so many viewers. But I also think the topic was just really important. So I didn't want you guys who may not be on Facebook to feel left out. So that's why I'm going to do another session of this. And it's probably very similar to the Facebook Live, which of course you can watch it. It's going to be linked in our show notes, but I just still think that the message is so important. What does your internal GPS look like, and how can you stay focused on your ultimate goals? So let's get into that today. Remember, in order to stay focused, you have to know where you're going. So number one, what does your GPS look like? Sometimes we're always saying there's so much that we want to do. How do I get it all done? How do you stay focused? What's the key to staying focused? And I want to have this metaphor of the GPS. We all know it. We all use it. Now it's 2017. Most of us either have it on our phones or in our cars or whatever. We're so accustomed to when we don't know where to go or we don't know how to get to somewhere, we put it in our GPS, Global Positioning System. What do you use it for? You use it to get where you need to go. Now think about it. What does your internal GPS look like? How are you getting to where you need to go? And if we're not focused, we're not going to be able to clearly direct ourselves, which is so essential for anyone who's a dream driver, anyone who's dream driving. We love our GPSs because they give us direction. So we need to make sure our internal direction maker is in tune and aligned with our dreams. So think about this. A GPS, how does it work? You have to have a starting point, right? A GPS needs to know where is its starting location, and what do you put into it? You have to put in your end destination. Where do you want the GPS to take you? And once you put that end destination in, there are steps you have to take. And if you follow those steps, you'll be able to reach your destination. It gives you an estimated time of arrival. It'll tell you how long it'll take you to get there and everything. So is this making sense to you? Does this whole GPS make sense? So why am I saying that this whole idea of having a GPS is connected to being focused? Well, think about a GPS. You can only go one place at a time. You may have multiple destinations, but the GPS is only going to take you to one dega place. And if you are Jamaican, you got that reference. I don't know why, but Jamaicans just like to make everything double to emphasize things. And my parents always say the word dega when they're trying to say like one damn place. They say one dega place. But anyway, so the GPS can only take you to one place. So a lot of us are trying to do too much with our internal GPSs when we don't realize that GPSs are not made to take us to multiple destinations. You can't say, hey, GPS, I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese and Bank of America. It's only going to take you to one. And then it might take you to the next place after you already got into that one destination. So just think about that idea as I go along with this episode, because I think it's something that we all can visualize and something that we all experience. So since you can only go to one place at a time, how do you make sure that your internal GPS is working, right? Here are my tips for staying focused and maintaining your internal GPS and making sure that it's working to the best degree of its ability, or to the best ability. You know what I'm trying to say, right? So number one, you need to have one goal. Start with one goal, just as a GPS only has one destination. A lot of us are trying to do a lot. Prior to Dreams and Drive, I was trying to do the most. I had all these big, audacious goals. I wanted to be an entertainment writer. I wanted to be a beauty blogger, a beauty vlogger. I wanted to have a consulting company. I wanted to do a lot, but my GPS was cracked out and I was not going anywhere. So with this whole podcast 2 years ago, I focused. I said, you know what? Blogging, I like it, but I'm going to put that to the side. I'm going to focus on building this one platform, Dreams and Drive. That was my sole focus. I made goals that aligned with that overarching goal, because I knew that if I wanted to achieve something, I had to get super focused. I didn't want my GPS to be cracked out anymore. I didn't want it to be broker than broke. I wanted it to be working right. So number one, you have that one goal. So think about, let's use this whole Dreams and Drive podcast as an example, right? You put that one goal into your GPS. Now you have to figure out the steps. So if you have whatever goal it is that you have, just one goal, remember, break that big goal down into small goals. When you really zero in on that goal and become super focused, so many things can happen. So you have that big goal, you break it down into smaller steps, and don't get distracted, because the hardest part of goal setting is committing to that one thing. Sometimes you'll break it down into smaller steps and say, hey, it's not that hard, I'll add something else. No, for this purpose of this exercise, I want you guys to break down that one goal that you have, one goal, into small steps. You're going to feel like you're losing out. You may feel like, oh my God, there's other things I should be focusing on. No, but remember, you have to master one thing before you can be a master of many things. And a lot of people are trying to be a master of many things when they haven't even mastered one thing yet. So if you're that person, please continue listening to this. I definitely feel like you'll get some value out of it. From that one goal that you have, and you're breaking it down into smaller steps, the reason for that is not only practical and tactical, it's also because you need to start tricking yourself. Use some reverse psychology, use some neuroscience, whatever. We need to trick ourselves into feeling like winners. And what's the easiest way to feel like winners? To create winning situations. How do you create winning situations? You become a winner. How do you become a winner? You achieve your goals. And even if it's small goals, you will feel so much better. So for example, let's say I have as my goal to launch a podcast January 1st, 2016. One of the smaller goals for me was researching top podcasters. Break that down a little bit more. Find 5 podcasters who have successful business podcasts. Right? So for me, I could have just said find podcasters, but because I broke it down, I said find 5 podcasters. And then from that, it's a small goal. Maybe just for that one day, Monday's goal was to just find 5 podcasters. I didn't make Monday's goal launch podcast January 1st, 2016. It just seemed too big, too far out. But on that Monday, I was able to successfully write down and identify 5 small podcasters. But that Monday, I was able to identify 5 podcasters who have successful businesses or business podcasts. And I accomplished that goal. I felt so good about myself. I was like, damn, I'm on my way to becoming a top business podcaster. I'm doing it. And I tricked myself into well, I didn't really trick myself. I just created the environment, a winning environment, because every day I was knocking stuff off my to-do list. And I think that's something that we don't forget about is we need to create winning situations and we need to be very, very practical about how we're doing it. So if you have a small set of tasks and you're breaking it down, you're not trying to do too much every day. You're being very focused on what your goal is for that day. And if you can accomplish that, you're going to be so much more motivated and so much more empowered to keep that momentum going. So think about that, right? Think about how can you create actionable steps that you can take every day that are achievable and things that you can celebrate. And celebrating those wins are important. You want to feel like a winner every day, even if it's just a high five, even if it's just like something very simple that you do. Remember, you're a winner and make yourself feel like a winner. Share it with someone. Whatever you got to do, celebrate those accomplishments, and that's going to help you stay focused because your body is going to want to feel that feeling of winning again. You're going to know, oh my God, I did this one thing yesterday. I can do it again today. So think about a GPS too, right? Sometimes there may be multiple pathways that gets you to your path. So if you put in, let's say I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese, as I said earlier, right? I put in Chuck E. Cheese into my destination. It may tell me to take a highway. It might tell me to take a way that has tolls. It might tell me to take a way that avoids cows, whatever. I don't know, right? You have to figure out which pathway is good for you, but know that there are multiple pathways to get to the end goal. You cannot think about what other people are doing. You have to identify the best pathway for you. Maybe traffic works for you. Maybe no traffic is the best thing for you because what works for you may not work for Susie. So you have to focus on thinking about your current situation and which destination, which way of getting to that goal is going to help you in the long run. For example, sometimes you may need to take the long and scenic route. Why? Because you have no experience. And if you have no experience doing something, you need to get that experience. And a lot of people try to bypass something by not getting experience, not getting their hands wet, not getting their feet dirty, and then they end up getting so unfocused because they become distracted because they realize it's a lot of work. If you're doing something that you've never done before, you need to put into your action plan ways on how to really become an expert in whatever it is. And I think some people just forget about that. And when they're not understanding and grasping a concept, they want to step away from the goal. And I see that a lot. So don't become that person. So now once you figure out which pathway is best for you, you now need to press start on that goal. You need to press start on your GPS and internalize all the directions. Start driving. Focus on your end destination. Execution is something that's hard for a lot of us, but it's so connected to focusing. You can't execute efficiently without focus. That's why it's so important that you're breaking down those goals into smaller goals. It's so important that, you are doing that. You need to do a huge brain dump of everything that goes into it. And there are going to be times when you feel fearful. There are going to be times when it seems like too much, but you have to feel the fear and do it anyway, because you don't look at a GPS and if it tells you, hey, I want to get to Chuck E. Cheese and there are 100 steps you have to take, you don't say, oh my gosh, GPS, you're broken. No, you look at it and you say, all right, let's go, because I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. You guys know, I don't know why I made Chuck E. Cheese the example that I'm talking about, but just bear with me, right? So for example, in my own journey, launching a podcast strategy session was something that I was so nervous about, and I put it off, but I really wanted to get focused on it. So with the help of Art Steele, who was a past guest on the show, I had to break down the steps of what I had to do in order to launch a podcast strategy session. And by breaking down the steps and by seeing everything in front of me, I could really focus on what it is that I had to do, and I could create deadlines. I could create a timetable. I could create kind of like a project management setup for this goal, and it helped me stay so focused. Think about it. You don't want a GPS that just says, get on the highway and figure it out. You want the GPS that's going to tell you every step of the way. And if you outline every step of the way for yourself, you will succeed. I'm telling you, you will succeed, because you won't have time to get off track if you've already mapped it out. Repeat that to yourself. I won't have time to get off track if I map it out. It's hard. It's scary. You have to look at it every day. You have to look at the plan, but I know that you can do it. And it's funny because when I was doing the Facebook Live, we actually had a comment from Lorna, one of our dream drivers. She said, sometimes you have to know when to reroute. Part of staying focused is reevaluating, is checking up on yourself. So Lorna, thank you for sharing that, because it's so important. Sometimes you have to know when to reroute, because your GPS isn't always perfect. Your plan is not going to be always perfect. But if you don't put constantly checking, sometimes you got to pick up the phone and just make sure you're still on track, making sure you're not veering off and the GPS hasn't picked it up. You have to really know and put some accountability checks into your plan. So, for example, with me launching a podcast, I had to tell someone that I was launching it. I had to hold myself accountable to a larger group. So I announced it to my online newsletter. I put a date on it. I said, this is the date in which it'll be done by. So people were expecting me to deliver on that. And that helped me stay focused, because I knew I had to deliver to somebody, and people were counting on me to get this audio, get this podcast out there. So for you might need to assign yourself some accountability partners. That may come in the form of a group, maybe get a coach, get a mentor. That might mean you have to do check-ins with yourself, where you're looking at your metrics, where you're looking at your steps, projects completed, how many tasks are left on your to-do list. There's a lot that you can do there. But remember, if you're trying to stay focused, you can't always do it by yourself. So build a tribe, build a community, build a way to hold yourself accountable as well, but you definitely can do it, because you want to be charting your progress, which is another big tip. Chart your progress. That comes along with celebrating your wins. You should know how far along in the journey you're there. On some GPS, it might say you're 80% there. You're 1/4 of the way there. You're 3/4 of the way there. That's so important, because that countdown, whether you're looking at how much you have left or how much you've already completed, can be both encouraging and motivating. Don't see that countdown. Don't see that time left amount as something that should fill you with anxiety. See it as, wow, I've done so much. I'm focused. That is the key. You have to switch your mindset. You have to switch the way that you're looking at these tasks. And as I said in the live that I did actually last week, You have to think about what is your goal. The live was all about how to get over the fear of self-promotion. And my biggest takeaway from that is if your goal is to become the best, but fear of self-promotion is what is your blockage, you have to ask yourself, how much do you really want this dream? And with this whole staying focused, knowing what your end goal is, for me, launching that podcast was my end goal. And I could not let anything get in the way because I wanted it that bad. I'm telling you, when you find the thing that you really want that bad, you're going to do whatever it takes. So if you find that you can't stay that focused on something, maybe you don't want it that much. Maybe you need to find that thing that really excites you and that gets you pumped and gets you motivated, because that's what's going to give you the energy to stay focused. That's what's going to give you the energy. And I want to go through these tips again. That's going to give you the energy to find that one goal. So put that goal into your GPS and figure out the steps, to figure out the pathways that you're going to take to get to that goal, to plug it in and make it become part of you. That's going to help you chart your progress, look at it every day, hold yourself accountable, and to celebrate your wins. So find what gives you that energy. And if you're really finding, if it's years and years and years and you're still not focused, you need to either do an evaluation on yourself or look at your dream and make sure that it's the right one for you and that you're really being true to what it is that your goals and your dreams and your desires are. Because the worst thing is to be dream driving on as episode 119 guest Melissa Butler said, it's so sad when some people stay in a lane they never chose. So make sure wherever your end destination, whatever that is, make sure it's somewhere that you actually want to go. It's so important, guys. So important. So what are the key takeaways from this chat that we had today? Remember, a lot of people never get anywhere because they want to be everywhere. I'm going to say that again. A lot of people never get anywhere because they want to be everywhere. Don't be that person trying to be everywhere and has never gone anywhere. All right. And also, and I said this to Emily when we were talking via Instagram, I said to her, it's okay to put things in the garage because remember, you still own the house. The house meaning this is your body. This is your brain. This is your GPS, right? You still own the house. So if you have to put things in the garage for use at a later time, don't feel like you're missing out because it's still a part of you. If the current dream doesn't work out, you can go into the garage and say, all right, this didn't work out, but I had something else I thought about. And now I'm going to focus on that. Now I'm going to pivot. I think sometimes we get scared of fear of missing out. But what if I don't do this? What if I don't do that? Remember, you cannot try to be a master of everything if you've never mastered one thing. And figuring out how to master one thing, you'll be able to figure out how to master multiple things. Sometimes we have a hard time letting go of those ideas. It's still your brain. Put that in the garage. Just focus on one thing. Just focus on one thing. Because if you want to be great, you can't be great at 20 things at once. I am a great believer in that. You'll get more focused when you get more specific. And sometimes we think, oh, but I won't learn about this if I put that away. No, in just getting super focused, you will learn much more than you ever thought you would learn. And it's funny because I thought with me trying to become a podcaster that my whole blogger days were going to be over, that my whole email marketing days were going to be over. No, I still have to use those skills. In fact, me kind of being a little crazy and sporadic and trying to do everything back in the day kind of helped me now because I have a good perspective. I have a good overview, but being a good podcaster means I still need to think about what are those skill sets from being a blogger, from being a vlogger, from doing email marketing, from doing marketing strategy. Those things I'm all still using as a podcaster today. So just focus on accomplishing one goal because you can still scale from there. And remember that GPSs are made for one destination at a time. Even if you have multiple destinations, you have to get to one step on your journey before you can get somewhere else. And too many of us are trying to be crazy telepathic creatures that can exist in multiple realms at one time. Listen, there's not the year 3000 yet. We haven't reached that yet. So let's stay in the year 2017 and focus on what we can do now. So if you forget everything that I said in this episode, the one thing I want to remember and remind you is that in order to stay focused, you have to know where you're going. You have to know where you're going, and you have to always keep that end goal in mind. Think about why you want it. Think about why you're doing it. Think about that when you feel distracted. Think about how staying super focused, and this is why I love reading biographies. I love listening to people tell their stories, because one thing you can know from listening to Dreams and Drive episodes, at some point, people had to quit trying to be everything to everyone and focus on that one thing. And once they were able to focus on something, so many good things happened. So many good things happen. So that's all I have to say for today. Remember, this was an adaptation from the Facebook Live that I did on Monday. You can definitely watch the replay by going to our show notes or by joining our Dreams and Drive Facebook group. Just go to dreamsanddrive.com/Facebook, or you can just search Dream Driver Mastermind the next time you're logged on. I want to say this is your first time tuning in. Thank you. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We are everywhere, and we are soon going to be on Spotify. So for all you Spotify listeners, be on the lookout for us on Spotify. And I mentioned this on the previous episode as well, but I am now offering idea therapy sessions, marketing consultations, and our signature Dreams and Drive podcast strategy sessions. And I would love to work with you. So if you are currently a podcaster, if you're currently somebody who's just really struggling to figure out how to take your marketing or your ideas or your podcast to the next level, let's work together. If you're listening to this on November 30th, 2017, today is the last day that I'm doing my special pricing. So make sure you go to dreamsanddrive.com/book. That's dreamsanddrive.com/book to schedule a session with me. My previous clients have made me so happy. They have said they've learned so much. They have really thought about things that they haven't thought about before when it comes to building their brands and growing their community. So please, please, please consider booking a session with me. If you have any suggestions on other Facebook Live topics I should try to attack, please email me. I love getting emails from you all. I'm Rana at dreamsanddrive.com. That's RAN as in Nancy A at dreamsanddrive.com. Send me an email. Let me know what you think of this episode. And also, please, please, please don't forget that we have a great giveaway with the Lip Bar episode 119 guest, Melissa Butler. We teamed up. We are going to give away a Merlot lipstick to one of you lucky listeners. So if you are a person who loves fashion, who loves lipstick, who loves great colors, go to dreamsanddrive.com/win. That's dreamsanddrive.com/win in order to enter. Now, I love it when you guys follow us. So make sure that you are following us on social. We are Dreams and Drive across the board, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and especially on Instagram. All this week, you guys have been sharing this Melissa Butler episode 119 episode. Please share this episode too. Specifically, I love when you share it on Instagram stories. We have a great Dream Driver community on Instagram. So please, please, please share it on Instagram. Share it with one of your friends, because this is how we're going to get more people to not give up on themselves. It also takes you guys spreading the message as well. So I do appreciate it when you get out there and you help me spread the word about Dreams and Drive. So as I said on episode 119, our next guest is going to be the wonderful Jamar Mills. And he's going to talk about his road from, growing up in Paterson, New Jersey, the rough streets, getting cut, and then kind of just changing his life and discovering education, discovering his power as an educator, and telling us how he was able to transform some of the worst schools in New Jersey, in Newark, New Jersey, and just turn around those schools and become a principal by the age of 28. His story is so inspiring, and I love having different guests from all different industries on the show. So stay tuned for episode 121 with Jamar Mills. It's going to be a treat. It's going to be very, very encouraging and motivating for all of us. Keep dreaming, keep driving. Make this week phenomenal. Make this weekend the best ever. All right, talk to you in episode 121. Bye, guys.